What's going on, guys? Coach Noob back in the building with another one. As usual, it's going to be jam packed full of jewels. Anytime is always appreciated because you could be doing anything, but you heard me checking out these reviews. It's another wild one, man. It's about a guy who shot a husband and his wife, and then, he took his own life after that. So let's check it out.
All I can say is nothing like this happened before.
Rattled neighbors and a still active crime scene in this waterfront section of Berkeley Township. The day after prosecutors say a man shot and critically wounded a husband and wife who lived next door before taking his own life.
I couldn't believe it at first.
Now, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, decision making, you already know, man. And this one's crazy because it would even come to something like that. You shouldn't have that kind of problems with your neighbors. You're supposed to love your neighbor as you love yourself and look out for each other because you live next door or, a house or two down, whatever. In this case, I guess they live next door. And, you don't want to have problems with people you live next door to anyway. It just really doesn't make any sense. That's supposed to be your place of peace where you lay your head, and then you already have to face problems when you go out into the world. So why would you want to have to deal with stuff when you come home too? So it's always like something's going on no matter what. And then you never really know like the mental space of anybody else either. Even if it is a neighbor, these aren't the days of like where most people had the same religion or were into the same kind of things. Nowadays a Muslim might be living next to a Buddhist or something like that. So you're supposed to have a certain level of respect for your neighbors and just people in general, and vice versa, so that things just go smoothly. You mind your business, they mind their business. You might speak in passing or something like that, and it's okay if you don't like your neighbor, but at the same time, like I say, you should have at least a certain level of respect because you guys do live next door to each other, and you don't want those kind of problems, man. Especially when it comes down to something like this, a neighbor hurting, shooting both neighbors, bro, the husband and the wife, and then going to unalive itself, which is crazy.
Investigators say 54-year-old John Adamo shot the man while he was outside his house on Drake Drive Monday afternoon. Adamo then fired into the home, wounding the wife before going inside his own house. Sources say the victim's teenage son called 911. SWAT teams rushed to the scene. Some 2.5 hours later, police blew open Adamo's front door. They found him dead in a bedroom. It appeared he shot himself.
So you don't ever want to have to go through these kind of problems either, man. Like police blowing up your door, and then like he did that. He made his decision, and he didn't live with it though. He unalived himself because, in my opinion, he didn't want to deal with the consequences that came along with that or what he did, and he should have thought about that before he did it because it's never worth it. Especially doing something to where you think you have to take your own life after you've done it. That's not a good decision. And, you're always supposed to be aware of the decisions you make so that things don't come down to this, man. 'Cause, it does affect you and it does affect everybody else. And it affected the son who had to call 911 for his parents, man. He almost lost both of them that day, which is messed up. And then the neighbor, who knows about his family or friends or whatever, but now they have to deal with the consequences of his actions, man. And it's still it doesn't sit well with the people, the victims, the family of the victims and stuff like that. So, just think logically and rationally, and things aren't always that bad. They're actually not as bad as you think, man. You just have to be able to worry about and focus on yourself, man, to the point where you're really not worried about anybody else like that unless it's directly affecting you and your lifestyle or something like that, man. And then, you have a conversation with them, something like that, and take the proper steps. Don't take matters into your own hands because, you know, it's not going to end well for you, bro, especially when you're thinking like this. His mind frame wasn't right. He wasn't thinking clearly. He was obviously in his feelings and not thinking rationally. And then by the time he did, he wasn't ever to the point where you got to take your own life. You're not thinking clear, man. Because, like I said, you shouldn't have to do anything that leads you to killing yourself after you do something.
His neighbor did not want his face shown on camera.
There's been a history between these two houses, but nothing that's like, get worth getting shot over.
Yeah, nothing's worth getting shot over for real. Like, there shouldn't be anything that your neighbors can do to the point where you want to shoot them and then shoot yourself, man. Like I've been saying, that's just nonsense, bro. That's crazy. And it's really just, lost for words at it, man, because you're just not supposed to have them kind of, problems like that, bro, where you live at. That's your place of peace, and you just want to come home after work or whatever you've been doing, man, and relax. You don't want to have to deal with a neighbor every day.
The injured adults did not like the people next door.
Prosecutors believe the shooting followed ongoing problems between the two families. Police had been here before. Multiple cameras and no trespassing signs are posted outside the victim's house. This one clearly directed at the Adamos next door.
He got it set up like the government center or something, damn near all those cameras, man, just for the neighbors next door. That's who it was aimed for. And usually when you got cameras or something up, it's for just to keep an eye on your property from people who aren't from that neighborhood or don't frequent that neighborhood. And for you to have to do something like that, it clearly shows, that something's not right. It's really a mental problem at that point, man. And that's really when you should just be like, all right, let's let him do him or whatever, and mind his business, even if you don't speak to him in passing and you just stick to yourself, man. That's what you're really supposed to do. Just let it be, man. You don't want to have to move from where you stay at because it becomes that kind of problem. Like, so it's okay if you don't talk to your neighbors and stuff like that these days, man, but at least just have some type of level of respect, man, and a cool relationship with your neighbors, bro. Like I said, you don't have to hang out every day or anything like that, man, but just know who's next door to you and something like that, bro. Because, I hate to see if they deliver the wrong package to their house and accidentally put it on their doorstep instead of his. That would have been a problem. It shouldn't be like that, man. Supposed to be able to call them, hey, they dropped the package off at the house, bro. I'm going to drop it off for you. Come grab it. All right, bet. It probably would have turned into a whole thing, which is crazy.
What could possibly be that kind of dispute that you would get in a dispute like that with your neighbor, especially here?
It's insane. Everybody thinks they got their own problems, but this is crazy.
Neighbors say they're praying for the victims. They tell me the couple has 4 sons and are active in the community. In Berkeley Township, I'm Ted Greenberg, NBC 10 News.
Yeah, that is crazy, man. And everybody does have their own problems. So that's why, you deal with people accordingly, how they are. And even if you don't like somebody, then you don't deal with them. You don't keep making matters worse to the point where something like this happens. And, they have 4 sons. So, man, the neighbor affected the sons' lives by doing that. And it really, he would have made matters even worse if he would have still been alive. He would have went to jail. There's no probably about it, man. And, it's never really worth it. Like I said, bro, just always think rationally and logically in all situations, and think of the best outcome for yourself and everyone around you without it coming to physical confrontation, man. Anyway, this Coach Noob. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you're digging this kind of content. Anytime's always appreciated because you could be doing anything but you hear me checking out these reviews. Until next time, I'm out.